I'm trying not to laugh. Peace be to the saints. I want to say some stuff before we get started. Today we're going to read more of the Book of Jubilees. And as we read from chapter 7 to chapter 14, somewhere along this way, it's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm reading that I never read before because I'm reading this book to finish this book for the first time. I never read the whole Book of Jubilees. So from somewhere around chapter 14 to the end, it's gonna be new for me because I've only read from my memory to about from chapter 1 to chapter 14 and chapter 20. That's it. So this is gonna be new for me, most I willing, as we continue. Now, it's gonna be like a study and a read at the same time. I'm gonna give you cross references if I can think of any. Um, and let me also say this: I'm using StreamYard to do these videos, but due to the information I found out, I can only stream live about 20 hours a month for free. Well, exactly 20 hours for free. I found it out recently. So, in order for me to keep it going like this and to keep this amount of hours going, I have to pay for the service. So, either I'm gonna have to figure out another way to do these and share the screen so you can see everything I read. But no matter what, I'm gonna still go live. So, I don't know if I want to stick with StreamYard and pay for it, but I'm looking into options. So I wanted to say that, and let's get to it. So I'm gonna read from a different website today. I'm not gonna do a PDF. I'm gonna go to I don't know. This is Figure for .com/jubilees, and I'm gonna start at chapter 8 because we finished chapter 7 in my last video. Now the words are smaller. That's probably gonna be a bit difficult for you all, but I think it's gonna be a lot easier and faster for me to get through it though. Um, I would like for these words to be bigger though, but let me try it. Let me try it. I haven't shared the screen yet. I'm just gonna see what it looks like if I make these words bigger. Oh, well, we're good. All I gotta do is just okay, cool. Never mind. All right. So I'm gonna share the screen and we can get started. Let me see. If you please. Yeah. Ooh. Y'all probably heard that. I was popping my neck. Okay, so chapter 8, the Book of Jubilees, and this book seems to have been written by Moses. It's from the first chapter to the seventh chapter at least, because that's all I read in my previous video on live. Because somebody asked me recently, just last night, well, who's the scholar that wrote it? And I was like, well, from my experience and from me reading it, sounds like Moses and an angel or a group of angels. And I was telling her it's similar to just like how we got um, the Bible. Like when Moses wrote, you know, Genesis to Deuteronomy, he wrote some of it, the Ten Commandments, an angel wrote it. It's kind of that's what it reminded me of. It was like, but I haven't read the whole book yet, so let's read it. So this is chapter 8, the book of Jubilees. And it says, in the 29th year, I'm sorry, y'all, my microphone is way over here again. I forgot. Y'all probably can't hear me that good. I be so ready to read and do these live videos that I don't be completely ready. Let me get this microphone. It's way over here. I was thinking to set this thing up. I think I have. It can like hook up to my desk and then it'll like hang down and the microphone will be like either right here on the side or in front of me or over here. And I can have it just hanging instead of, but that'll probably be my way. I probably have to have it like on the left or the right. But either way. Okay, so now I'm saying let's read the book of Jubilees. So this is chapter 8, verse 1. I'm sorry, the audio was probably lower before. My microphone was way over there on the other side of the table. Forgot about that. Excuse me. So here we go. In the 29th Jubilee, in the first week, in the beginning thereof, Arpachshad Shad took to himself a wife, and her name was Rasu Jah, the daughter of Suzanne, the daughter of Elam, and she bare him a son in the 3rd year of this week, and he called his name Canaan. I mean Canam, that's an M, not an N. Canam. And the son grew, and his father taught him writing, and he went to seek for himself a place where he might seize for himself a city. And he found a writing which former generations had carved on the rock, and he read what was thereon, and he transcribed it, and sinned owing to it, for it contained the teaching of the watchers. Anybody that knows what the Book of Enoch says about the watchers, they can kind of get an idea of what the watchers are. Not all watchers are supernatural creatures like angels, but there are a lot of times where this word is used towards angels. But anyway, let's keep going. So it says, for it contained the teaching of the watchers in accordance with which they used to observe the omens of the sun and moon and stars and all the signs of heaven. And he wrote it down and said nothing regarding it, for he was afraid to speak to Noah about it, lest he should be angry with him on account of it. And in the 13th Jubilee, in the 2nd week, in the 1st year thereof, he took to himself a wife, and her name was Melchah, the daughter of Madiah, the son of Japheth. In the 4th year, he begat a son, and he called his name Shelah, for he said, truly, I have been sent. I'll just read these brackets. And in the 4th year, he was born, and Shelah grew up. Okay, because if it wasn't for those brackets, it would have just started like that. And Shelah grew up. That's how it would have started. So, okay. And Shelah grew up and took to himself a wife, and her name was Muak. Never heard that name before. And then it says, the daughter of Kesed. I don't think I ever heard that name before either. His father's brother. In the 130th Jubilee. Okay. In the 5th week, in the 1st year thereof. And she bare him a son in the 5th year thereof. And I wish they would remove these little brackets that to me, they don't matter right now. But these little brackets in between that say 15:03 a.m., I don't care about that. If I was to copy and make a PDF of this, which I can, I would just remove it so I can just read it without having to go around it. It's stuff like that to me at this point doesn't matter to me and just makes it a bit difficult for me to read it. And just like when I bought the book called The Sefer or the Sefer, well, I didn't buy the book, it was given to me. When I got the book, The Sefer, they got all throughout the Bible the Aleph and the Tav together, which they call Ath or Eth. It's all throughout the Bible. They don't translate it. They just leave it in the modern Hebrew, and it's pointless a lot of times because it's just in there. It's just in the way. Yeah, it's really in the text, but why did you put it in the English like that? It's just stupid, in my opinion. So this right here to me is similar to that in a way. It's just there. I don't need it right now. So anyway, I think I was on verse 7. Let me turn this off real quick. And she bare him a son in the 5th year thereof, and he called his name Eber. This is where the Hebrews came from. A lot of people don't know that, but some do. And then it says, and he took to himself a wife, and her name was Azurad, the daughter of Nimrod. Kind of reminds me of Nimrod. In the 32nd Jubilee, in the 7th week, in the 3rd year thereof. And in the 6th year thereof, she bare him a son. Oh, it don't even say a son. It just say she bare him son. Okay. Well, and he called his name Peleg, for in the days, um, Yeah, that's how it says it. For in the days when he was born, the children of Noah began to divide the earth amongst themselves. For this reason, he called his name Peleg, and and they divided secretly amongst themselves and told it to Noah. Mm. This is when I think some deep information is going to come in. It says, and it came to pass in the beginning of the 33rd Jubilee that they divided the earth into three parts, for Shem and Ham and Japheth, according to the inheritance of each. In the first year, in the first week, when one of us who had been sent was with them, and he called his sons, and they drew nigh to him, they and their children, and he divided the earth into the lots, which his three sons were to take in possession. And they reached forth their hands and took the writing out of the bosom of Noah their father. And there came forth on the writing as Shem's lot the middle of the earth, which he should take as an inheritance for himself and for his sons for the generations of eternity. From the middle of the mountain range of Rapha, from the mouth of the water of the river, oh, it doesn't say of the river, from the river Tina. And his portion goes toward the west through the midst of this river, and it extends till it reaches this right here. Well, I thought about just throwing it over there. This happens in a number of my videos. Let me do something that I think about in my videos. Let me throw this in another room. Hold on, I'll be back. It's ridiculous. Can't even keep cell phones around no more. I don't know where my other one at. My other one do the same thing. I don't know where that's at. Oh well, whatever. Who was that at now? Tina and his portion goes toward the west through the midst of the river. I was about right there. Okay, I'm in 12. After it says the river Tina in the middle, and I was continuing on. It says, and his portion goes towards the west through the midst of this river, and it extends till it reaches the water of the abysses, out of which this river goes forth and pours its waters into the sea, Miat, and this river flows into the great sea, and all that is towards the north is Japheth's, and all that is towards the south belongs to Shem. I think I'm gonna drink that fast because it's not water. Okay. And all that is okay, I got that. 13. Now, I can't see the comments right now. I don't have that type of setup. So anybody who said anything, and in the future, they do got these platforms where if I do pay for it, I can have the chat integrated or something like that on the screen. So they say, so I can see everything y'all say while I'm actually looking at what I'm reading. But through StreamYard, I don't think they even have a feature like that, but other services do. And I'm thinking about buying it. But I got maybe like two or one more live left of StreamYard before I have to make that choice. So this is gonna be one of my last lives on StreamYard for free. Now where am I at? If I didn't say though, hello to everybody who's here. I don't know who's here yet. So verse 8, I mean 13. And it extends till it reaches Caroso. This is in the bosom of the tongue. I was making sure I read everything right. Basam. That's a better way of pronouncing it. This is in the basam. Yeah, I like that better. Of the tongue, which looks towards the south. And his portion extends along the great sea, and it extends in a straight line till it reaches the west of the tongue, which looks towards the south. For this sea is named the tongue of the Egyptian sea. and it turns from here towards the south, towards the mouth of the great sea on the shore of its waters, and it extends to the west to Afra, and it extends till it reaches the waters of the river Gihon, and to the south of the waters of Gihon to the banks of this river, and it extends towards the east till it reaches the Garden of Eden, to the south thereof, to the south, and from the east of the whole land of Eden, and of the whole east, it turns to the east and proceeds till it reaches the east of the mountain named Rapha, and it descends to the bank of the mouth of the river Tina. This portion came forth by lot for Shem and his sons, that they should possess it forever to his generations forevermore. And Noah rejoiced that this portion came forth for Shem and for his sons. And he remembered all that he had spoken with his mouth in prophecy, for he had said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and may the Lord dwell in the dwelling of Shem. And he knew that the Garden of Eden is the Holy of Holies. I've been hearing about that. Let's see. Then it says, and the dwelling of the Lord, and Mount Sinai, and the center of the desert, and Mount Zion, the center of the navel of the earth. These three were created as holy places facing each other. And he blessed the God of gods, who had put the word of the Lord into his mouth, and the Lord forevermore. And he knew that a blessed portion and a blessing had come to Shem and his sons to the generations forever. The whole land of Eden, and the whole land of the Red Sea, and the whole land of the east, and India, and on the Red Sea, and the mountains thereof, and all the land of Bashan, and all the land of Lebanon, and the islands of Captur, and all the mountains of Saner, and Amana, interesting, and the mountains of Ashur in the north, and all the land of Elam, Ashur, and Babel, and Suzan, and Media, something like that. I don't even know why that E in there. But anyway, it says, and all the mountains of Ararat, and all the region beyond the sea, which is beyond the mountains of Ashur towards the north, a blessed and spacious land, and all that is in it is very good. And for Ham came forth the second portion beyond the Gihon towards the south to the right of the garden, and it extends towards the south, and it extends to all the mountains of fire, and it extends towards the west to the sea of Atel, and it extends towards the west till it reaches the sea of Muak. That sea into which everything which is not destroyed descends, and it goes forth towards the north to the limits of Gader, and it goes forth to the coast of the waters of the sea, to the waters of the great sea, till it draws near to the river Gihon, and goes along the river Gihon till it reaches the right of the Garden of Eden. And this is the land which came forth for him, as the portion which he was to occupy forever for himself and his sons to their generations forever. And for Japheth came forth the third portion beyond the river Tina, and it says to the north of the outflow of his waters, and it extends north easterly to the whole region of Gog, and to all the country east thereof, and it extends northerly, that's a better way of pronouncing it, to the north, and it extends to the mountains of Kelp towards the north, and towards the sea of Mauk, and it goes forth to the east of Gader, as far as the region of waters of the sea, and it extends until it approaches the west of Farah, and it returns towards Apharag, and it extends easterly to the waters of the Sea of Maet or Miet, and it extends to the region of the river Tina in a northeasterly direction until it approaches the boundary of its waters towards the mountain Rapha, and it turns round towards the north. This is the land which came forth for Japheth and his sons as the portion of his inheritance, which he should put for himself and his sons for their generations forever. Five great islands and a great land in the north, but it is cold. And the land of Ham is hot, and the land of Shem is neither hot nor cold, but it is of blended cold and heat. Those of us in USA can relate. But anyway, we all have imaginations about where they live based on just the descriptions of it. So that's good to see. Something we don't get in Genesis, or, it's just not in the Bible. So let's go to chapter 9. So it says, I see the heading up there, but I don't want to read that. Spoiling it. I'm just messing. But then it says, I'll be tripping. But anyway, it says, and Ham divided amongst his sons, and the first portion came forth for Cush towards the east, and to the west of him for Mitzrayim, and to the west of him for Put, and to the west of him, and to the west thereof on the sea for Canaan, the cursed one, remember that. And Shem also divided amongst his sons, and the first portion came forth for Ham and his sons to the east of the river Tigris, till it approaches the east, the whole land of India, and on the Red Sea on its coast, and the waters of Dedan, and all the mountains of Mibri and Elah, excuse me, and all the land of Suzan, and all that is on the side of, excuse me, Farnak, to the Red Sea and the river Tina. And for Ashur came forth the second portion, all the land of Ashur and Nineveh and Shinar, and to the border of India, and it ascends and skirts the river. And for our Pakshad came forth the third portion, all the land of the region of the Chaldees, to the east of the Euphrates. This is how I used to pronounce it, because they people pronounce it without the e at the beginning. They say Euphrates, so I started saying it that way too. But if you want to put the e on it, you got to say E Euphrates. Not a lot of people accept that though, but it's an e in the beginning. Like, how are you gonna just skip the e? Euphrates, like, okay, whatever. So anyway, um, I guess people will say the e is silent. Nah, take the e out. Take the e out. The whole word. Then if it's if it's silent. But anyway, so after that it says bordering on the Red Sea and all the waters of the desert, close to the tongue of the sea, which looks towards Egypt, all the land of Lebanon and Sinir and Amana to the border of the Euphrates. And for Abraham there came forth the fourth portion, all the land of Mesopotamia between the Tigris and the Euphrates to the north of the Chaldees, to the border of the mountains of Ashur and the land of Ararat. And there came forth for Lud the fifth portion, the mountains of Ashur and all appertaining to them, till it reaches the great sea, and till it reaches the east of Ashur his brother, And Japheth also divided the land of his inheritance amongst his sons. And the first portion came forth for Gomer to the east from the north side to the river Tina. And in the north there came forth for Magog all the inner portions of the north until it reaches the sea of Miet. And for Mediah came forth as his portion that he should possess from the west of his two brothers to the islands and to the coast of the islands. And for Javan came forth the the fourth portion. They spelled it different, ain't that something? Like the fourth that I just said have a U in it, and the fourth before that just it don't. Like that's weird, but you can say it the same. Wow. Well, all right. Yeah, let's keep going. So it says, and for Javan came forth the fourth portion, every ah, I see why they did it now. Who do they think they is? They think they smart. I'm just messing. The fourth portion, every island and the islands which are towards the border of Lud, and for Tubal there came forth the fifth portion in the midst of the tongue, which approaches toward the border of the portion of Lud to the second tongue, and the region beyond the second tongue to the third tongue. And for Meshech came forth the sixth portion, all the region beyond the third tongue, till it approaches the east of Gedar. And for Tyrus, there came forth the seventh portion, four great islands in the midst of the sea, which reached to the portion of Ham, and the islands of Kamaturai came out by lot for the sons of Arphaxad as his inheritance. And thus the sons of Noah divided their sons in the presence of Noah their father, and he bound them all by an oath, imprecating a curse on every one that sought to seize the portion which had not fallen to him by his lot. Keep that in mind. And they all said, so be it, so be it. Another way of saying that is amen, amen. That's the definition of amen. So be it, or be it so. So they agreed to it. It was like, let it be so, let it be done. Now, check this out. After that, it says, for themselves and their sons forever throughout their generations till the day of judgment. So let's read this all together and not stop. And they all said, so be it for themselves and their sons forever throughout their generations till the day of judgment, on which the Lord God shall judge them with a sword and with fire for all the unclean wickedness of their errors, wherewith they have filled the earth with transgression and uncleanness, and fornication and sin. Now we're going to get into some stuff that some of y'all might have never heard. I see Connie, I see Exhort and Edify, I see Pedal and Malak. Hello to you all. I don't know who's still with me though. Now let me get back to this book. Okay. I might need to make the words bigger. Kind of look a little small. We'll see how that do. Chapter 10, the big chapter 10. It says, and in the third week of this Jubilee, the unclean demons began to lead astray the children of the sons of Noah, and to make to err and destroy them. And the sons of Noah came to Noah their father, and they told him concerning the demons which were leading astray and blinding and slaying his sons. And he prayed before the Lord his God and said, God of spirits, of all flesh, who has shown mercy to me, and have saved me and my sons from the waters of the flood, and have not caused me to perish as you did the sons of perdition. For your grace or favor has been great towards me, and great has been your mercy to my soul. Let your grace be lift be lifted up on my sons, and let not wicked spirits rule over them, lest they should destroy them from the earth. But do you bless me and my sons, that we may increase and multiply and replenish the earth. And another way of saying replenish can mean refill, but let's keep going. And you know how your watchers, that's another way it can be said, or the watchers, whatever makes sense. But in here it says thy. So I like to modernize it. But let's see what it says. And you know how thy watchers, the fathers of these spirits. Okay, so in this context, it would be the, sounds like that would make the most sense there. Acted in my day. And as for these spirits which are living, imprison them and hold them fast in the place of condemnation. And let them not bring destruction on the sons of your servant, my God. For these are malignant and created in order to destroy. And let them not rule over the spirits of the living, for you alone can exercise dominion over them. And let them not have power over the sons of the righteous from henceforth and forevermore. And the Lord our God bade us to bind all. And the chief of the spirits, Mastema, came and said, Lord, Creator, let some of them remain before me, and let them listen to my voice, and do all that I say, shall say to them. For if some of them, I heard this noise, for if some of them are not left to me, I shall not be able to execute the power of my will on the sons of men. For these for these are for corruption and leading astray before my judgment. For great is the wickedness of the sons of men. And he said, let the tenth part, interesting, let the tenth part of them remain before him, and let 9 parts descend into the place of condemnation. And one of us he commanded that we should teach Noah all their medicines, for he knew that they would not walk in uprightness, nor strive in righteousness. And we did according to all his words. All the malignant evil ones we bound in the place of condemnation, and a tenth part of them we left, that they might be subject for Satan on the earth. And we explained to Noah all the medicines of their diseases, together with their seductions, how he might heal them with herbs of the earth. And Noah wrote down all things in a book, as we instructed him concerning every kind of medicine. Thus the evil spirits were precluded from hurting the sons of Noah. And he gave all that he had written to Shem, his oldest son, for he loved him exceedingly above all his sons. And Noah slept with his fathers, and was buried on Mount Lubar in the land of Ararat. 950 years he completed in his life, 19 jubilees in 2 weeks and 5 years. I think I see what they're doing with this timeline now, because I think I did the same thing. If I'm right, I think they count from Adam all the way to Noah. That's how many years it's been since the beginning. But they could have put that to the side. They ain't have to put that in the, you know, distracting me, making me skip around and trying to avoid it. But let's keep going. So, verse 17. And in the life on earth, he excelled the children of men, except Enoch, because of the righteousness wherein he was perfect. For Enoch's office was ordained for a testimony to the generations of the world, so that he should recount all the deeds of generation to generation, till the day of judgment. And in the 33rd Jubilee, in the first year, in the second week, Peleg took to himself a wife, whose name was Lomna, the daughter of Sinar. And she bare him a son in the fourth year of this week. And he called his name Reu. For he said, Behold, the children of men have become evil through the wicked purpose of building for themselves a city and a tower in the land of Shinar. For they departed from the land of Ararat eastward to Shinar. For in his days they built the city and the tower, saying, Go to, let us ascend thereby into heaven. And they began to build. And in the fourth week they made brick with fire, and the bricks served them for stone. And the clay with which they together, cemented them together, was asphalt, excuse me, which comes out of the sea and out of the fountains of water in the land of Shinar. And they built it 40 and 3 years. Excuse me. I didn't know it took that long. So then it says 40 and 3 years they were building it. Its breadth was 203 bricks, and the height of a brick was the third of one. Its height amounted to 5,433 cubits and 2 palms. And the extent of one wall was 13 stades, and of the other 30 stades. And the Lord our God said to us, Behold, they are one people, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be withholden from them. Go to, let us go down and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech, and they may be dispersed into cities and nations, and one purpose will no longer stay or abide with them to the day of judgment. And the Lord descended. Ooh, I just had a thought. They may be trying to bring that back where they can become one unit and have one purpose again. And yeah, anyway, because we hear about the New World Order, we hear about stuff like that. So, 23, and the Lord descended, and we descended with with him, to see the city and the tower which the children of men had built. And he confounded their language, and they no longer understood one another's speech. And they stopped then to build the city and the tower. For this reason, the whole land of Shinar is called Babel, because the Lord did there confound all the language of the children of men. And from thence they were dispersed into their cities, each according to his language and his nation. And the Lord sent a mighty wind against the tower and overthrew it on the earth. And behold, it was between Ashur and Babylon in the land of Shinar. And they called its name Overthrow. In the fourth week, in the first year, in the beginning thereof, in the fourth and 30th Jubilee, were they dispersed from the land of Shinar. And Ham and his sons went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired as his portion in the land of the south. And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt, that it was very good, and he went not into the land of his inheritance to the west, that is to the sea. And he dwelt in the land of Lebanon eastward and westward from the border of Jordan and from the border of the sea. And Ham, his father, and Cush and Mizraim, his brother, said to him, You have settled in a land which is not yours. Keep this in mind. This is why I told y'all earlier, remember the oath. So they go on to say, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so. For if you do so, you and your sons will fall in the land and be accursed through sedition. For by sedition you have settled, and by sedition will your children fall, and you shall be rooted out forever. Dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and to his sons did it come by their lot. And then it says, cursed are you, and cursed shall you be beyond all sons of Noah, all these sons of Noah, by the curse by which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge, and in the presence of Noah our father. But he did not listen to them, and dwelt in the land of Lebanon from Hamath to the entering of Egypt, he and his sons until this day. And for this reason, that land is named Canaan. Interesting. And Japheth and his sons went towards the sea and dwelt in the land of their portion. Madiah saw the land of the sea, and it did not please him, and he begged a portion from Ham and Ashur and Arphaxad, his wife's brother, and he dwelt in the land of Media, near to his wife's brother to this day. And he called his dwelling place and the dwelling place of his sons Media, after the name of his of their father Madiah. Okay. Chapter 11. Just checking in with y'all, just checking, okay? I noticed that these chapters are long. It takes me longer to read them. Here we go. And in the 35th Jubilee, in the third week, in the first year thereof, Reu took to himself a wife, and her name was Orah, the daughter of the son of Kesed. And she bare him a son, and he called his name Siro, in the 7th year of this week in this Jubilee. And the sons of Noah began to war on each other, to take captive and to kill each other, and to shed blood of men on the earth, and to eat blood. There's the prophecy being fulfilled. That in chapter 6, it said they was going to eat blood. They're already doing it. Okay, let's keep going. So it says, and to eat blood and to build strong cities and walls and towers, and individuals begin to exalt themselves above the nation, and to found the beginnings of kingdoms, and to go to war, people against people, and nation against nation, and city against city, and all begin to do evil, and to acquire arms, and to teach their sons war. And they begin to capture cities and to sell male and female slaves. And the son of Kesed, built the city of Arah of the Chaldees, and called its name after his own name, and the name of his father, and they made for themselves molten images, and they worshipped each the idol, the molten image which they had made for themselves, and they began to make graven images and unclean lacra. Never seen that word, I don't think. And malignant spirits assisted and seduced them into committing transgression and uncleanness. Interesting way of wording that, showing you how demons can talk to people. Then it goes on to say, and the prince, this is a familiar word. I'm thinking about Mastima, but I mean that's what it says. But I think this is in the Dead Sea Scrolls too, that name. But let's keep going. It says, and the prince, yeah, I think it is. I want to get it real quick. Let me see. Where is it? There it is. I think this is, no, it's this one. I grabbed the wrong book. They call him. Oh no, it's similar to that, but they call him Masty Moth. I'm a little bit off. It reminded me of that though. It's a something in his book. Here it is. It says the angels of Masty Moth and the rule of Belial. It's a little different. I thought that was the same name. It could be just a little different. It's in the Dead Sea Scrolls Uncovered. I was like, that sounds familiar. Masty Moth. Okay. So it says, and the prince Mastima exerted himself to do all this, and he sent forth other spirits, those which were put under his hand, to do all manner of wrong and sin. Who does Mastima sound like? Let's keep going. And all manner of transgression to corrupt and destroy, and to shed blood on the earth. This reminds me of I think it's Ephesians 6, or wherever it talks about, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against evil wickedness in high places and things like that. Something like that. Those scriptures remind me of this right here, because we got a description of it happening, but it's happening through evil spirits, which reminds me of what I seen today of horoscopes. Be careful about that, because I saw a lady who's promoting that she will help tell your future through horoscopes. No. Or something like that. Like, no. That sounds like sorcery. Sounds like she's using the evil spirit to do it. Careful with that. Anyway, where we at? 6. And he grew up. Who grew up? I must have missed 5. Okay, 5. For this reason, he called the name of Siro, Sirug, for everyone turned to do all manner of sin and transgression. And he grew up and dwelt in Ur of the Chaldees, near to the father of his wife's mother, and he worshipped idols. And he took to himself a wife in the 36th Jubilee, in the 5th week, in the 1st year thereof. And her name was Melchah, the daughter of Kaber, the daughter of his father's brother. And she bare him Nahor. Mm-hmm. Abram's coming in the picture, sounds like. And then it says, in the 1st year of this week, and he grew and dwelt in Ur of the Chaldees, and his father taught him the researches of the Chaldees to divine and agor according to the signs of heaven. What is agor? Let me check this word out. Never researched it. Agor definition. Did I spell it right? I, I somehow it didn't come out right. Let me agor. A tool. No, that's not it. Hold on. Where's that word at? Oh, it's a U. Okay, okay. I spelled it wrong. We'll just type it like this. Here we go. All right. It says it can also mean a seer, soothsayer. Now, a seer could just be, they used to call prophets a seer too, but I don't think this is a good one. So it says these are synonyms. It can be seer, soothsayer, fortune teller, psychics, mediums. But anyway, then it goes on to say crystal gazer, psychic, which is what I just said, prophet, prophetess, wise woman, sage, diviner, oracle, stuff like that. Now, I don't even want to read the definitions. Anyway, okay. Now let's go back to the text. So, gore, I don't know what that is. I'll probably forget, but you know, where we at? Okay. So it says, I'm gonna start about here. And his father taught him the researches of the Chaldees to divine and agor. according to the signs of heaven. So a gore could possibly be to prophesy according to the signs of heaven, or to do something according to the signs of heaven. Because the way the context is going, a gore could be a psychic, a medium, or a prophet or a prophetess. And what do? They prophesy, they tell things that's going to happen, but some of them do it through evil spirits, some do it through the Most High. But these don't sound like they doing it through the Most High. So let's keep going. But wait, it even tells you what they was doing it through. It says, according to the signs of heaven. That's what they was doing it through. They was, anyway, if that was probably a part of it. And then it goes on to say, and in the 37th Jubilee, in the 6th week, in the first year thereof, he took to himself a wife, and her name was Ijaskah, the daughter of Nestag of the Chaldees. And she bare him Terah. Here we go, we're getting into Abraham. Well, Abram, in the 7th year of this week. And the prince Mastimas sent ravens and birds to devour the seed which was sown in the land, in order to destroy the land, and rob the children of men of their labors before they could plow in the seed. The ravens picked it from the surface of the ground. And for this reason he called his name Terah, because the ravens and the birds reduced them to destitution and devoured their seed. And the years began to be barren, owing to the birds, and they devoured all the fruit of the trees from the trees. It it was only it was only with great effort that they could save a little of all the fruit of the earth in their days. And in the 39th Jubilee, in the 2nd week of the first year, Terah took to himself a wife, and her name was Edna, the daughter of Abram. Wait, what? Abram was already here? Hold on. Let me read this again. And in the 39th Jubilee, in the 2nd week, in the first year, Terah took to himself a wife, and her name was Edna, the daughter of Abram, the daughter of his father's sister. Okay, I'm gonna just have to read it because Terah is Abram's son, unless it's another Abram. But let me keep going. Okay, I'm gonna read it. Keep going. Just say. So it says, verse 13. And in this 39th Jubilee, in the 2nd week, in the first year, Terah took to himself a wife, and her name was Edna, the daughter of Abram, the daughter of his father's sister. The daughter of his father's sister. Okay, so his dad's sister's daughter. Okay, so this was another Abram, because that threw me off. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, cool. Okay, the daughter of his father's sister. And in the 7th year of this week, she bare him a son, and he called his name Abram. That's the Abram I thought that they was talking about before. Then it says, by the name of the father of his mother. Man, that threw me off. I thought it was only one Abram in the whole Bible. I'm like, what? Where does this other Abram? I'm like, it must be another one. I'm like, what's going on here? Just saying. Then it says, for he had died before his daughter had conceived a son. And the child began to understand the errors of the earth, that all went astray after graven images and after uncleanness. And his father taught him writing, and he was 2 weeks of years old. And he separated himself from his father, that he might not worship idols with him. Remember, jasher also speaks about Abraham. Well, not Abraham, but Terah being well, the Bible, Genesis, Jasher, and this talks about Terah being an idol worshiper, and Jasher speaks about Abraham breaking Terah's idols. Excuse me, and learning who the true God is. And right here we have another cross reference. I can write in these cross references. I need to find the one in Genesis. Let me see if I can find it. Terah was a idol worshiper. Let's see what I find. Idol worshiper verse. Joshua 24:2. Really? Thought it would be in Genesis. Let's see what it say. Joshua said to all the people, "This is what the Lord says. The God of Israel says, long ago, your ancestors, including Terah, the father of Abraham and Nahor, lived beyond the Euphrates River and worshiped other gods." Okay, well, that's still a good one right there. Showing Terah was a idol worshiper. Okay, I thought it was in Genesis though. It could be. It could be. I don't got my book though. My book. Write this in. Hold on. I'm gonna use this big Sefer. It actually comes in handy for something. I don't like it completely, but I mean, it does have Jubilees and Jasher in it, so they actually did a good work. It's good for something, I tell you. It's good for something. Okay, let me open it up to Jubilees chapter 11. I'm gonna cross reference it. Back some Jasher. Jubilees 11. Enoch, okay, I see Enoch. 11 what? 18, 16? 8, no, 15. Okay, 11, 15. Now, if you ever get the Sefer, at least the one I got, I don't know if they're doing it now, but they don't give you cross references. So if they do, it's hardly any. It's not a study Bible, so you're going to be disappointed with that part. But at least cross references, you don't really get it. So you got to write in your own, and the little bit of space they gave you on the sides ain't enough. I mean, anyway, that's another thing I ain't like about it. So we got Jasher 11, Jubilees 11:15. Going with Joshua 24:2. Okay, got it. And it could be another one in Genesis where it calls Terror an idol worshiper, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna just hold this book over here in case I have to get it again and cross reference something else. Let's see if we can find something in Genesis. We got Genesis 11, 26, but that's not saying he was an idol worshiper. Wait. Oh, that's somebody else. Okay. So this might be the only. Let's see. That could be it. Maybe I was just mistaken. Maybe it was Joshua, not Genesis. I thought it was in. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Genesis 11:26. Maybe it just worded a different way. That's probably why I couldn't find it like that. Genesis 11:26. I keep seeing that. The Book of Jubilees even popped up. That's interesting. Okay, well, we'll just leave it at that for now. Okay, so 15. Um, verse 16. So it goes on to say, and begin to pray to the Creator of all things that he might save him from the errors of the children of men, and that his portion should not fall into error after uncleanness and vileness. And the seed time came for the sowing of seed on the land, and they all went forth together to protect their seed against the ravens. And Abram went forth with those that went, and the child was a lad of 14 years. And a cloud of ravens came to devour the seed, and Abram ran to meet them before they settled on the ground, and cried to them before they settled on the ground to devour the seed, and said, Descend not, return to the place where you came. And they proceeded to turn back. And he caused the clouds of ravens to turn back that day 70 times. And of all the ravens throughout all the land where Abram was, there settled there not so much as one. And all who were with him throughout all the land saw him cry out, and all the ravens turned back. And his name became great in all the land of the Chaldees. I'm thinking. Then it says, and there came to him this year all those that wished to sow, and he went with them. I'm hungry. It just hit me, y'all. It just hit me. Um, y'all, what y'all eat today? Whoever watching, y'all can tell me, and I'll read. I'll check it out later. Peter, what's all them nines for? What's up with that? I mean, pedal. I don't know. Getting real hungry. I'm telling you. I wouldn't mind having well, I kind of don't want a pie because it's a little bit too sweet, but something that's already like done and I can just eat it. Damn. I don't know what though. Maybe like I don't know about a pizza. Let's see. I'm skimming down to where I was. I think I was on 20 or I think I was on maybe 21. Yep, 21. And there came to him this year all those that wished to sow, and he went with them until the time of sowing ceased. And they sowed their land, and that year they brought enough grain home home and ate. Well, and eat. It should be ate, but and were satisfied. And in the first year of the 5th week, Abram taught those who made implements for oxen, the artificers of wood, in wood, and they made a vessel above the ground facing the frame of the plow in order to put the seed thereon, and the seed fell down therefrom on the share of the plow and was hidden in the earth. And they no longer feared the ravens. And after this manner they made vessels above the ground on all the frames of the plows, and they sowed and tilled all the land, according as Abram commanded them, and they no longer feared the birds. Oh man, it sounds like it's gonna get good. I'm hungry though. I gotta think of something. I gotta think of something to eat, y'all. I gotta think of something to eat. So let's see. This is chapter 12, I believe. Yeah, chapter 12. Okay. And it came to pass in the 6th week, in the 7th year thereof, that Abram said to Terah his father, saying, Father. And he said, Behold, here am I, my son. And he said, What help and profit have we from those idols which you do worship, and before which you do bow yourself? For there is no spirit in them, and they are dumb forms, and a misleading of the heart. Worship them not. Worship the God of heaven, who causes the rain and the dew to descend on the earth, and does everything on the earth, and has created everything by his word, and all life is from before his face. Why do you worship things that have no spirit in them? For they are the work of men's hands, and on your shoulders do you bear them, and you have no help from them. But they are a great cause of shame to those who make them, and a misleading of the heart to those who worship them. Worship them not. And his father said to him, I also know it, my son. But what shall I do with a people who have made me to serve before them? And if I tell them the truth, they will kill me. For their soul cleaves to them to worship them and honor them. Keep silent, my son, lest they kill you. And these words he spake to his 2 brothers. And they were angry with him and kept silent. And in the 40th Jubilee, in the second week, in the 7th year thereof, Abram took to himself a wife, and her name was Sarai, the daughter of his father, and she became his wife. And Haran his brother took to himself a wife in the 3rd year of the 3rd week, and she bare him a son in the 70th year of this week, and he called his name Lot. And Nahor his brother took to himself a wife. And in the 60th year of the life of Abram, that is, in the 4th week, in the 4th year thereof, Abram arose by night and burned the house and burned the house of the idols, and he burned all that was in the house, and no man knew it. This may sound a little different than Jasher, but if it's a way to tie them together, we'll see. It says, and they arose in the night and sought to save their gods from the midst of the fire. And Haran hastened to save them, but the fire flamed over him. Excuse me. And he was burnt in the fire. Haran was burnt in the fire. Okay, let me see what it says. And he died in Ur of the Chaldees before Terah his father. And they buried him in the land of, in Ur of the Chaldees. So this is another thing that Jubilee says that Jasher said something different about. Jasher says Haran, if this is the same Haran as Abraham's brother, because it's probably more than one, but depending on which Haran this is, if it was Abraham's brother, Jasher says that Haran died in the fire, but when Abraham was being thrown into the fire by Nimrod and his men because of Terah, their dad. But I don't know which Haran this is, so let me read up a little bit and come down and see if it gives us any clues and keep going. So it says in verse 10, and Haran, his brother, took to himself, okay, at this point it's talking about Abram, sounds like. So let me go up a little bit. Because Terah was talking to Abram, and then, okay, in verse 9, after it says 19:25 a.m., it says, Abram took to himself a wife, and her name was Sarai, the daughter of his father, and she became his wife, and Haran, his brother. So at this point, this same Haran is Abram's brother. And it says, his brother took to himself a wife in the 3rd year of the week, and she bare him a son in the 70th year of this week, and he called his name Lot. And Nahor, his brother, took to himself a wife, and in the 60th year of the life of Abram, that is, in the 4th week, in the 4th year thereof, Abram arose by night and burned the house of the idols, and he burned all that was in the house, and no man knew it. And they arose, okay, so they arose in the night and sought to save their gods from the midst of the fire. And Haran hastened to save them, but the fire flamed over him, and he was burned in the fire, and he died in Ur of the Chaldees before Terah his father. That's the same one. Okay, cool. We got it. So it's a fact. Where is let me write this down. Where's my book? Go ahead and get this one real quick. Let me move this microphone a little bit. I never caught this one. I don't think. If I did, I don't remember in the past, but I definitely in my mind right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and write this one down real quick. Okay. This is verse. Well, I'll just say the context. We'll just. What chapter is this? 12, 13, 12. Okay. Gotta figure out where does it start. Keep silent, my son. I'll just say chapter 12. I'm just say the whole chapter. And I'm just making note. And Jasher. I can't recall what chapter, it is in Jasher, but I know Jasher does say Abram and Haran was thrown into the fire, but I'm gonna just make a note of it and I'll find it later. Most I will. Let's see. So they both say Haran died in the fire though, but it's just different situations of why he died in the fire. But they both do agree that Haran died in the fire, the same Haran. That's the interesting part. But the context of why he died in the fire and stuff like that is the difference. And this one, he was trying to save the idols in, I guess, his dad's idol worshiping room or area, whatever room or house they was in. But in the other one, in Jasher, it was saying when after Abram had broke all the idols in his dad's room or house for him, his dad went and told King Nimrod, and he was trying to get Abraham. Well, he was trying to get Abraham punished. So the punishment for that was that Abraham was to be thrown into the fire. And then um, Terah had told a lie about Abraham being killed as a baby. Well, he brought Nimrod the wrong child as a baby, and Nimrod killed somebody else's child and not Abram. And so for that lie, Nimrod was asking, "Why did you lie to me about that? Tell me the truth." And it was something like that he was saying. And then Terah, he made up another lie. He said it was Haran's my oldest son or my son's idea to do it, and Haran never told him to do that. He made it up, and then so they took Haran, Abraham's brother that we read about here, and threw him in the fire with Abraham, and they both went into the fire, but Haran died and Abraham didn't. So that's how these stories differ. But in both stories, Haran was still killed by a fire. So that's a little different. So where are we now? I think I read past this. 14, 15. And Terah went forth from Ur of the Chaldees, he and his sons, to go into the land of Lebanon, um, and into the land of Canaan, and he dwelt in the land of Haran. And Abram dwelt with Terah his father in Haran 2 weeks of years. And in the 6th week, in the 5th year thereof, Abram sat up throughout the night on the new moon of the 7th month, to observe the stars from the evening to the morning, in order to see what will be the character of the year with regard to the rains. And he was alone as he sat and observed. And a word came into his heart, and he said, all the signs of the stars and the signs of the moon and of the sun are all in the hand of the Lord. Why do I search them out? If he desires, he causes it to rain, morning and evening. And if he desires, he withholds it. And all things are in his hand. And he prayed that night and said, my God, God Most High, you alone are my God, and you and your dominion have I chosen, and you have created all things, and all things that are the work of your hands. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits, who have dominion over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from you, my God. That's an interesting verse about fighting demons. Verse 20. And establish you, me, and my seed forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. And he said, shall I return to of the Chaldees, who seek my face, that I may return to them? And am I to remain here in this place? The right path before you, prosper it in the hands of your servant, that he may fulfill it, and that I may not walk in the deceitfulness of my heart, O my God. And he made an end of speaking and praying, and behold, the word of the Lord was sent to him through me. Who is me? What? I don't even know who me is right now. Let's keep going. It says, through me, saying, get you up from, it's like an angel's writing this or something, because who is me? If Abram was the one praying, and who is me? I doubt it's Terah, his dad. Haran is dead, so who is me? Moses definitely, he wasn't even alive yet. Who are they talking about? All I can think of is an angel, but let's go. And then it says, get you up from your country and from your kindred and from the house of your father to a land which I will show you, and I shall make you a great nation. A great and numerous nation. Now I know from Genesis who it said that was. That was from the Most High ultimately. So it could have been an angel sent to tell him that. I figured it was an angel, or like who is me? What's going on here? So anyway, it says, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be blessed in the earth, and in you shall all families of the earth be blessed. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse them that curse you. And I will be a God to you, and what? The way they worded this next part, and thy son, and to, wait a minute, hold on. Okay. I get it now. And I will be a God. See, this is why I need some modern words in here, because just get it out of here. Just take it out. I don't need it. Anyway, it says, and I will be a God to you and your son, and to your son's son. Just say your. Dang, just say, that's all they gotta do. Just let's keep going. And to all your seed, fear not from henceforth, and to all your generations of the earth. Had to make sure I read that right. I am thy God. Okay, then it says, and the Lord God said, open his mouth and his ears, that he may hear and speak with his mouth, with the language which has been revealed, for it has ceased from the mouths of all the children of men from the day of the overflow of Babel. And I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Hebrew, in the tongue of the creation. And he took the books of his fathers, and these were written in Hebrew, and he transcribed them, and he began from henceforth to study them. And I made known to him that which he could not understand, and he studied them during the 6 rainy days, months. And It came to pass in the 7th year of the 6th week that he spoke to his father and informed him that he would leave Haran to go into the land of Canaan to see it and return to him. And Terah his father said to him, Go in peace. May the eternal God make your path straight, and the Lord be with you, and protect you from all evil, and grant to you grace, mercy, and favor before those who see you, and may none of the children of men have power over you to harm you. Go in peace. And if you see a land pleasant to your eyes to dwell in, then arise and take me to you, and take Lot with you, the son of Haran, your brother, as your own, son. The Lord be with you, and Hor your brother leave with me till you return in peace, and we go with you all together. That was cool. Man. Hello, I see you, Jen. I see you, Mason. Man, that is hot. That drink is hot, y'all. I think I need another one. Man. Okay. It's ginger ale, but I like to call it ginger ollie. But it's hot. It's the hot kind. It's the real deal too. It ain't like the ones in like the Pepsi brand or Coca-Cola brand. It's strong. It's the real deal. Okay, let me go to chapter 13. Okay. And Abram journeyed from Haran, and he took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother, Haran's son, to the land of Canaan. And he came into Ashur and proceeded to Shechem, and dwelt near a lofty oak. And he saw, and behold, the land was very pleasant from the entering of Hamath to the lofty oak. And the Lord said to him, To you and to your seed will I give this land. And he built an altar there, and he offered thereon a burnt sacrifice to the Lord, who had appeared to him. And he removed from there to the mountain, ... That could be missing fragments. And then it says Bethel on the west and Ai on the east, and pitched his tent there. And he saw, and behold, the land was very wide and good, and everything grew thereon, vines and figs and pomegranates, oaks and ilexes. Don't even know what that is. And then it says, and terebinths and oil trees, and cedars and cypresses and date trees and all trees of the field, and there was water on the mountains. And he blessed the Lord who had led him out of of Ur of the Chaldees, and had brought him to this land. And it came to pass in the 1st year, in the 7th week, on the new moon of the 1st month, that he built an altar on this mountain, and called on the name of the Lord. You, the eternal God, are my God. And he offered on the altar a burnt sacrifice to the Lord, that he should be with him and not forsake him all the days of his life. And he removed from thence and went towards the south. And he came to Hebron, and Hebron was built at that time. And he dwelt there 2 years. And he went thence into the land of the south to Bealoth. And there was a famine in the land. And Abram went into Egypt in the 3rd year of the week, and he dwelt in Egypt 5 years before his wife was torn away from him. Now, Tanaias in Egypt was at that time built 7 years after Hebron. And it came to pass when Pharaoh seized Sarai, the wife of Abram, that the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Abram was very glorious by reason of possessions in sheep and cattle and asses, and horses, and camels, and men servants, and maid servants, and in silver and gold exceedingly. And Lot also his brother's son was wealthy. And Pharaoh gave Sarah back, well, Sarai back, or vice versa, the wife of Abram, and he sent him out of the land of Egypt, and he journeyed to the place where he pitched his tent at the beginning, to the place of the altar, with Ai on the east, and Bethel on the west. And he blessed the Lord his God, who had brought him back in peace. And it came to pass in the 41st Jubilee in the 3rd year of the week that he returned to this place and offered thereon a burnt sacrifice and called on the name of the Lord. And in the 4th year of this week, Lot parted from him, and Lot dwelt in Sodom, and the men of Sodom were sinners exceedingly. And it grieved him in his heart that his brother's son had departed from him, for he had no children. In that year, when Lot was taken captive, the Lord said to Abram, after that Lot had parted from him in the 4th year of this week, lift up your eyes from the place where you are dwelling, northward and southward, and westward and eastward. For all the land which you see, I will give you and to your seed forever. And I will make your seed as the sand of the sea. Though a man may number the dust of the earth, yet your seed shall not be numbered. Arise, walk through the land, in the length of it, and the breadth of it, and see it all. For to your seed will I give it. And Abram went to Hebron and dwelt there. And in this year came Chedor Laomer, king of Elam, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Salasar, and Tergal, king of nations, and slew the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Sodom fled, and many fell through wounds in the vale or valley of Siddim by the salt sea. And they took captive Sodom and Adam and Zeboim, and they took captive Lot also, the son of Abram's brother, and all his possessions, and they went to Dan. And one who had escaped came and told Abram that his brother's son had been taken captive, and Abram armed his household servants. Missing fragments look like for Abram and his seed a tenth of the first fruits to the Lord, and the Lord ordained it as an inheritance. As an ordinance forever, that they should give to the priests who served before him, that they should possess it forever. And to this law there is no limit of days, for he have ordained it for the generations forever, that they should give to the Lord the tenth of everything, of the seed, and of the wine, and of the oil, and of the cattle, and of the sheep. And he gave it to his priests to eat and to drink with joy before him. And the king of Sodom came to him and bowed himself before him and said, our Lord Abram, give to us the souls which you have rescued, but let the booty be yours. And Abram said to him, I lift up my hands to the Most High, that from a thread to a shoe latchet I shall not take aught that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, except only what the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me. Aner, Estro, and Mamre, these shall take their portion. Going to 14. That was a short chapter. Only 26 verses. Okay. Checking in with y'all. Checking in with y'all. Yeah, Jen. Yeah. Real ginger. Hey, Jen, I got a question. Are you the one I sent that book to, the Lost and Rejected Scriptures of something like that? I was curious. when you said you had that book, I'm like, huh, I wonder is that the one I sent? But let's keep going. So in 14, it says, after these things, in the 4th year of this week, on the new moon of the 3rd month, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a dream, saying, fear not, Abram, I am your defender, and your reward will be exceeding great. And he said, Lord, Lord, what will you give me, seeing I go hence childless? And the son of Mesech, the son of my handmaid, is the Damasek Eliezer. He will be my heir. And to me, um, it says, and to me, you have given no seed. And he said to him, this man will not be your heir, but one that will come out of your own bowels. He will be your heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said to him, look toward heaven and number the stars, if you are able to number them. And he looked toward heaven and beheld the stars, and he said to him, shall it says, so shall your seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and it was counted to him for righteousness. And he said to him, I am the Lord that brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you the land of the Canaanites to possess it forever. And I will be God to you and to your seed after you. And he said, Lord, Lord, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? So right here, some people think that you can't ask the Most High for a sign, but right here, sounds like that's what he's doing. So let's keep reading it. Let's read it again too, so you can see what it says. So verse 8. Now I'm gonna go back up, but I want you to see when he said in verse 5. I'm gonna start at 5 so you can see. Excuse me. I'm no expert, but that's what it sounds like he's asking for a sign. Verse 5 says, and he looked toward heaven and beheld the stars, and he said to him, so shall your seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and it was counted to him for righteousness. And he said to him, I am the Lord that brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you the land of the Canaanites to possess it forever. And I will be God to you and to your seed after you. And he said, Lord, Lord, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said to him, take me an heifer of 3 years, and a goat of 3 years, and a sheep of 3 years, and a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And he took all these in the middle of the month, and he dwelt at an oak of Mamre, which is near Hebron. And he built there an altar and sacrificed all these. And he poured their blood on the altar and divided them in the midst and laid them over against each other. But the birds divided he not. And birds came down upon the pieces, and Abram drove them away and did not suffer the birds to touch them. And it came to pass, when the sun had set, that an ecstasy fell on Abram, and lo, and horror of great darkness fell on him. And it was said to Abram, know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall bring them into bondage, and afflict them 400 years. And the nation also to whom they will be in bondage will I judge, and after that they shall come forth thence with much substance. And you shall go to your fathers in peace, and be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And he awoke from his sleep, and he arose, and the sun had set, and there was a flame, and behold, a furnace was smoking, and a flame of fire passed between the pieces. And on that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, to your seed will I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Perizzites, and the Rephaim, and the Pharaonites, and the Hivites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. And the day passed, and Abram offered the pieces, and the birds, and the fruit offerings, and their drink offerings, and the fire devoured them. And on that day we made a covenant with Abram, according as we had covenanted with Noah in this month. And Abram renewed the festival and ordinance for himself forever. And Abram rejoiced and made all these things known to Sarai his wife. And he believed that he would have seed, but she did not bear. And Sarai advised her husband Abram and said to him, Go into Hagar, my Egyptian maid. It may be that I shall build up seed to you by her. And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai his wife and said to her, Do so. And Sarai took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, and gave her to Abram, her husband, to be his wife. And he went into her, and she conceived and bare him a son, and he called his name Ishmael. In the 5th year of this week, and this was the 86th year in the life of Abram. So we got 50 chapters. Okay. Wait, and that was that for? I think that was 14. You say no. I bought the book. Okay. All right, cool. Wait. I think I'm thinking about this other book. It was the Universal. I gave away so many books. Oh, that's right. I gave that book that I'm talking to you about to somebody else. I think I'm thinking about the Universal Bible. Is that? I don't think we even spoke about that book, so never mind. So many books, and they look alike too. The Universal Bible and the other book look alike. How long have we been in this video? An hour and 37 minutes. Not bad. Okay, well I'm gonna stop right here. What we at? 15. Let's see. Yeah, and we'll keep going. Most High willing. It may be next Saturday. I might try to keep doing it, and I might try to throw some other stuff in between the week. I want to read the Testament of Solomon and Wisdom of Solomon, and I could probably do them all in one video, but I got to figure out what I'm gonna go live on because they say I can only use StreamYard for 20 hours a month for free, so I got to buy something. Figure out something. I'm gonna keep going live though. Either live or I'm just keep putting these videos out. Either way. Well, I'm gonna end the video here. Peace to the saints, and we'll see when I come back. Let me know what y'all thought about the video. Was it good? Was it bad? Did you catch anything? Like I caught something that was said different in the book of Jasher versus what Jubilee said. Which is I'm used to it. But that one I don't know if I've ever caught before. I definitely caught it tonight or today. And y'all let me know what y'all think about the book. Is it good? Is it good for you on your walk with the Most High? Is it not a book you think you should be reading or, peace be YouTube Jen? And y'all let me know. All right, I'm out of here. Oh, next week I'm gonna be reading stuff I've never read from this book. Okay.